welcome to Turtle Burger Crochet and Knitting. My name is Brittany. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is July 17th, 2022, and this is podcast episode 17, I'm fairly certain. And I decided to do a podcast episode because I am once again inundated with projects, and I just need to start fresh by showing everything I've got going on, and then I can start separating things by what I actually work on for the next episode. So let's jump into finished objects. The first finished object that I have is Turtle's Barley Hat. This is a free pattern by Tin Can Knits. It has not been blocked or anything. I made the child size. The yarn I used is Caron Simply Soft in the color Autumn Red, and I used a US 8 5mm. I'm trying to get better, and this just has the millimeter on it. These were my co-knit bamboo circulars that I used. So yeah, this is a great pattern. I will be making more for the rest of my family, and yeah, I really like this pattern. That's a keeper pattern. And this is all the yarn that I have left, so this will, I don't know what I'm going to be doing with it. I can't remember how much it was. I did weigh it, but that's already left my brain. And now Turtle can have his hat back. Okay, next a finished object is I'll put that over there, sewing project. My first ever sewn drawstring bag that was successful. Technically, I have one that is a work in progress that I need to rip everything out of it. So this is, I just kind of followed, there's a Learn, Create, Sew channel here on YouTube. I tried loosely following that, and I did not, while it's successful, it's not completely successful. The stitches and everything are horrible. You can see this is actually my marker pen. I did it on the wrong side. The drawstring ended up on the inside because this is supposed to be folded down like this, the casing, and I apparently did not do that correctly. But you know what? It's my first one, and I really like it. This is Little Ladies, and she has had a great time putting her dinosaurs and little friends in it. So I am very happy with it. And you know, as the more I make, which I have 2 that are pinned and ready to be sewn that I will show you here in a little bit, but the more I do it, the better I will get, just like crochet and knitting. So very, very pleased with that. And my last finished object, I don't know if this goes in finished objects or not, but that's where I'm putting it, is I dyed yarn, and I am so excited. So for this, I did post my dyeing process earlier today, so I will link that. First off, the yarn, I got a Bear yarn from Knit Picks, their Muse fingering weight yarn. I believe it was a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend, and I used it smells so good, Hawaiian punch primarily. So our store didn't have Kool-Aid, but I used Hawaiian punch and did it in my crock pot. And yeah, I am very eager. This will be casted on as a Stardust shawl by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits, and I will put a picture of what her picture of the shawl looks like. That's what this will be. So I'm very excited to get that caked up. I just haven't had time. I couldn't stop adding color. I wanted more of this blue color, but apparently I kept adding red. So anyway, I have one more of these skeins that I'm going to try. I think what I'm gonna do is make 5 20-gram minis and just kind of work on solid colors. I think that's what I'm gonna go for. And then as I kind of get the process down and learn more, because apparently I'm not very good at control, because I just kept adding color. This even kind of looks brown right here. I guess where all the colors mix. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. Okay, now let's jump into works in progress. And I'm gonna call it like it is. A lot of these you have, actually all of them I'm pretty sure you've seen before. I had no idea where they were the last time you saw them, so I thought let's just put it all out there, show it all, and then I can start doing better. So I'm gonna show what is immediately in front of me that you have seen, and then I have a couple of cast-ons that, well, I know I have one that you haven't seen. You know, I'm just gonna let's just show it all. Okay, here's what I was working on today. This is my Be Simple Variations shawl by, her name is Carolyn. So we're just gonna call her Carolyn because I don't know what it is after that. And it's so beautiful. The yarn I'm using is MonarchYarn on Etsy in the color Ocean Fade. And I actually happened to find, well, actually I didn't lose it. I came across it on another project. When I ordered the yarn, she sent me this beautiful progress keeper of a little butterfly. And so I really like that. And so thought it should be on here. So here is what I have left. Right now, the shawl is measuring right around 55 inches. My goal is to get to 60, and then I'm going to bind off, and it has a picot bind off, I believe is what I remember. The needles I'm using for the Be Simple shawl is a Chowgu 40-inch 4mm, and this was actually an acquisition. I bought 2 of these and got those in. So there's that. Next is the Spindrift shawl by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. The yarn I'm using is MonarchYarn, also same lady, and this is in the color Tropical Fade. It is a crescent shaped shawl, and I am using my Clover Takumi interchangeables. This is a size US 6 4mm. I'm hoping to get a lot of progress done on this. Let's see. Okay, there's that. And then technically I have one more shawl, which is another Be Simple Variations shawl, but I will be frogging this one. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I don't have very much on it. But technically I will show it. So this is another Be Simple Variations shawl. This is also MonarchYarns in the color Violet. And this progress keeper was from Southern Skeins in their November sock box. It's very pretty yarn. It's actually more, this is turning out like a very light purple, but it's actually very vibrant in person. But like I said, this will most likely be frogged, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that yarn. Let's go with dishcloths next. Okay, so the dishcloths, this is the June 2022 dishcloth of the month from the Kitchen Sink shop. This is Narnia. So I haven't made a whole lot of progress on that. And this is my stitch marker that I'm using. The yarn I'm using is Walmart Mainstays 100% cotton in the color silver, soft silver. Hoping to make some progress on this. I would like to have both dishcloths done in July, since I'm a month behind. I am using my Chowgu Bamboo US size 5 3.75mm needle. Let's So there is that one. And technically I've started and not gotten very far on the July dishcloth of the month. This is, I believe it's called like House of Style or something from, I don't remember what book it was from, but anyway, that's what they're all based on. And this is my little gummy bear progress keeper from Louise of Adventures in Yarn, or Adventures with Yarn. And the yarn I'm using is also Walmart Mainstays in the color Daylily Pink. And I am using my co-knit bamboo for this one, and it is also a size US size 5 3.75 millimeter. Ow. Just hit myself in the face. That was ridiculous. Okay. Moving on. Okay, next up I have my love note where I restarted it. I don't know if this was on the last podcast or not, or just the daily vlogs, but here is my restarted love note. I'm enjoying this so much more this time around. The yarn I'm using is, find my label here, Lion Brand Kobu in the color Lichen. And I am using my Clover Takumi interchangeables. This is a size US size 8 5 millimeter needle, and it is going so much better this time. I really would like to finish it very soon. Okay, now I've got tons of socks. Let's talk about socks. Okay, moving into socks, I will show you the ones first that I know for a fact I haven't worked on. First is Little Lady's Holly White sock. Actually, I might have worked on these. I ended up turning the heel, but I can't remember if that's been since the last podcast or not. So it is ready to move into the foot. This is, again, Holly White by McKaylee of Breaking Yarn, her pattern. The yarn I'm using is Huntington Valley Yarns in the color Red Purple. It is a 75-25 Superwash Merino nylon blend. And it's cuffed down. I cast it on 40 stitches using my ChowGoo Twist Shorties interchangeable set in the US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle. And I don't know if that size is gonna fit or not. I just kind of am guessing from other patterns I see where they in the same age group were casting on 40 using that needle. So that's where I got that from. And I did, I haven't tried it on since I turned the heel, but I did try the like cuff and leg on to see, and it's gonna be kind of like an ankle sock maybe. So there's that. The next pair of socks I have, and I did work a little bit on this. This is my, apparently by little bit, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. This is my husband's toe up vanilla sock. And the yarn is also Huntington Valley Yarns in the color blue. Again, it's a 75-25 base. And with this one, this is the first time I've ever made him socks, and like I said, it's just a vanilla sock. I'm not using any pattern or anything, so I did Judy's Magic Cast On and increased, oh, that light is blowing it out, sorry about that, increased to 72 stitches, and I'm using a ChowGoo 40-inch cable in my typical size US, I believe it's a 2.25 millimeter needle. And then also, this is kind of cool, I was cleaning some stuff out the other day, and this green thing, I bought this when I first started crocheting. It was supposed to be one of them ergonomic things that you put over your hook, and I've just been using it as one of these, which I find really handy dandy as a stopper. So anyway, so that is his sock. I really would like to get that done by Christmas. Okay, the next sock that I have is actually a half finished object. Let me get this here. Okay, and it is the Saul Goodman sock test from McKaylee of Breaking Yarn. Is this just not fabulous? It is so pretty. Really nice pattern. Now this is, well, actually before I get into that, the yarn I'm using is Yarnaceous Fiber Arts. Is that Yarnaceous Fibers? Sorry about that. This is the Salta Fingering Sock Set, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. So pretty. And then I cast on 56 stitches, and I'm actually using these on my 9-inch circular. This is the first time I've ever done a complete sock on here, and my gauge is much looser with this apparently, because this is so stretchy. It's just a long tail cast on, but it was super stretchy. Anyway, so I don't know if I've already shown this, but I have a marker on here, which was from Mindful Makes, I believe is the name. Anyway, and the really neat feature about this sock, not only is the pattern and texture just really lovely, this is a half linen stitch heel, flap, turn, and gusset or whatever. And it was so neat to do. Now, and this was the contrast mini and toe that came with the Yarnaceous fiber. This came together. The half linen stitch heel. So what she gave us instructions to do in the sock test, which the pattern is out now, so I will link all of McKaylee's information so that you can grab that, is she said, instead of focusing so much on doing so many rounds for like your heel flap or rows for your heel flap, it may be more beneficial to measure a heel flap from another pair of socks that you have and just knit until you have that amount. And I thought that was pretty neat. So what I did do that, and my heel flap for what I usually do is 2 inches. So I just knit until 2 inches, which for me was 38 rows of the half linen stitch. I'll be honest, I probably would have liked to have gone a little bit more so that it would go more into, well, I don't know. If I made it longer, would it just make it longer here, or would it, I don't know how that works. Anyway, it's 38 rows of the half linen stitch, and then a rounded toe. Really, really nice. And here's the progress on the second one. I would like to finish that soon. And actually, speaking of McKaylee, so I'm doing my acquisitions just kind of, well, no, I'll wait for that. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So this is the finished one, and here's the one that's a work in progress. The next sock that I have is, you've kind of seen this one, but not really. All I had it was casted on. This past week, July 10th through the 17th, was sock week from Nitty Natty, and you only had to have one adult sock. I did not finish, but I made a lot of progress, so that's cool. So this is the Florida Girl Shorty sock by Groove Mom, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. and it starts with cuff down with the rolled hem, and then you go into the foot, and I am using, which she recommended it and I used it just to see how it worked out, and it is a size, it's a 2mm. Is that a size 0? I don't know. It doesn't say, it's just 2mm. Anyway, and then the yarn, before I get into the details, the yarn I'm using, so my contrast color is Southern Skeins in the color Frosty. This was her December 2021 sock box, and it is a 75-25 superwash merino. And then the main color is Knit Picks Stroll in the color, wait, that's the wrong one, hold on, that goes with the other one. Knit Picks Stroll in the color Ash, and it also is a 75-25 superwash merino. Now I really wanted to make this sock when I saw it on Ravelry because I really liked the name Florida Girl Shorty Sock. And then I noticed in the pictures that to me it looked like a shark. It had pearl ridges that looked like the gills of a shark, so I was super excited to make it after that. Anyway, so let me back up. The heel is an Eye of Partridge heel. This was the first time I'd made the heel. I've made an Eye of Partridge cowl from Acacia Breaking Yarn. I did a test for her a few months ago and really like that stitch pattern, and I really like it on the heel as well. But anyway, back into this. I had been reading through the pattern because I knew when I was in the gusset decreases that I should be getting close to starting it. So I was reading ahead in the pattern, and I'm like, there's no pearls in this pattern. Like, where's the pearl ridges? That's the only way that that's gonna happen. And so I started looking at other project photos, and none of them had the pearl ridges. So I was going, wait a minute. So I zoomed in on the picture that had, it was a pretty pink sock that had the pearl ridges, and in little tiny letters underneath it, it says pearl ridges not part of current pattern. And I was like, what? That's like why I really wanted to make these socks right now for sock week. So, and this is why it took me a little longer, I think, other than the fact that I'm just a slow knitter. I had to have these as shark socks. They just absolutely had to be, no doubt about it. So I made my own pearl ridges, and so they will eventually look like a shark. I know it's kind of hard to tell because they're gray, but you can see right here. And I did put those modifications in my Ravelry notes. Basically all I did is add on 4 stitches on each end, or not add stitches, 4 purl stitches at the end of each of the back needle rounds, and then 6 purl ridges on each end of the front needles. And I did that 5 times, and in between each purl ridge I have 2 rounds of just a stockinette stitch. So while these are no longer a priority, I do want to get those done because I just think that's a really cool thing to have the shark gills there. And like I said, I did not finish in time to submit those for sock week, but that's okay. I'll be happy to get those socks done anyway. And the last sock that I have going on, I started while I was dyeing my yarn on Saturday. This is another test knit. This is the from Haxann Evers. It is the, what did she call it? Toe up vanilla shortcut heel sock or something along those lines. And she, excuse me, Haxann is a young knitter, and this is the second test I've done for her. She designed the Princess Cuff Shorties socks that I did, and I just find her design style intriguing. There's always something different in it, And this one, you would not think it, but yet it's so obvious. She, instead of doing like Judy's Magic cast on or a Turkish cast on for her toe up socks, she just simply did a long tail cast on and crease from there. And I'm like, that's so easy. Like, it would not have occurred to me, but yet it's so obvious. Bless you. And then you just like mattress stitch, or the toe together, graft it together instead of like Kitchener or whatever. Anyway, I just think that's very intriguing. And I'm excited to get to the heel section, because the last test I did for her, the Princess Shorty socks, she gave 2 options, which were a stockinette heel or a garter stitch heel, and I chose to do the garter stitch heel because everyone else was doing the stockinette, and I had never done a garter heel, and it's very stretchy. I really like it. So I'm hoping, I haven't looked ahead, but I'm hoping that when I get to the heel that she'll have the 2 options again, so that I can do the stockinette heel. But anyway, so the yarn I'm using is Knit Picks Felici in the color Vampire Vibes, and I am using my 40-inch ChalGoo US 1 2.25 millimeter needle, and these are the ones with the bend in them, which I do actually really like. And this colorway is really pretty. I've never had kind of a blocked sock before, so that's really cool. And here's what it looks like in the skein. Really, really neat. So hoping to get those done, and that is all. Oh, actually it's not. So my last works in progress are actually sewing. So I will show you the 2 bags that will be getting sewn up hopefully tonight, or tonight or tomorrow. And they are in pieces, which I'm gonna have to iron again because they've gotten messed up. But anyway, they're just gonna be simple drawstring bags. The red will be for Turtle, and the blue is for my husband, so they can have some drawstring bags. And I bought a pattern by recommendation from I think it's like Sotac Boutique or something like that, and I am loosely following the pattern because of course she goes into like the batting and everything like that. I'm not lining these or anything. I just want to learn the process and work on my stitches, so I'm not going through all that right now. But I've already got the little corners cut out for them to be boxed, and I have my drawstring casings, and so yeah, so all the pieces are already cut out. They just need to be sewn together, and now that completes all my works in progress. Okay, for acquisitions, first off acquisitions is this bag of fabric. I got a few pieces from Walmart, and my mother-in-law gave me a whole bunch to practice on. So that's the first acquisition. And then of course you've seen my, let me get my bag here. This is the second one, but of course you've already seen one of them. Is my ChalGoo 40-inch cable, US size 6 4 millimeters. And then I also got another, let's see, where is it? Oh, here it is. I also bought another 9-inch circular so that I could work on both socks at the same time. ChalGoo size US 1 2.25 millimeter. And I liked working the 9-inch circulars much better than I thought I would. And I also got some sewing things on Amazon. Let me get them out here. So this was on recommendation as well, but to help with my stitching and keeping things straight and seam, I bought a magnetic seam guide, and it came with these two as well, seam guides, seam allowance guide things, and then also some clips because I keep poking myself with the needles. And then I saved the best for last. So I forget which episode it was. I'll link the specific episode below, but McKaylee from Breaking Yarn was showing, she's doing a test for someone anyway, and she was showing the yarn that she used or was selecting for that, and it was her yellow hazmat suit colorway. And little lady was actually watching that episode with me, and McKaylee held out the yarn, the yellow hazmat suit yarn, and little lady said, "Pretty yellow yarn, Mama." And so I thought, oh my goodness, I gotta get her yellow yarn. She's all about the yellow right now. So I ordered just a little mini skein, 20 grams, 49 yards of the hazmat suit, and it is a very bright, beautiful yellow. This is a DK weight, obviously from Breaking Yarn. And I was so excited about it. It sat in our mailbox for a couple of days, and I had actually kind of forgotten about it. And when I opened it up, McKaylee sent the sweetest note, and she obviously sent the yarn, but she also gave me this beautiful stitch marker, this teal one, which is a Progress Keeper, which is my favorite color. But then she also put in a book for little lady, Barnyard Dance, and little lady was asleep when we got it out of the mailbox last night, so she got it today, and she loved this book all day and called it the cow book. Isn't that what she called it? Cow book? Yep. She just carried it around and called it the cow book, and looked through it and looked at all the other books on the back. So yeah, she was so pleased. So thank you, McKaylee. I sent her an email, but thank you so much. This was so precious and just above and beyond. And little lady loves books anyway. She really does. And then she was so super excited to get this. So that is greatly appreciated. I, of course, will, I always seem like I'm testing for McKaylee, so I always have her channel and website linked below, but I will link it below. Please go check out her website and see if she has fantastic colorways. And I'm not too familiar with it. I've seen it on Kim Knits, but I know she does a method called, which is her name, Breaking Yarn, where she breaks the colors, and so they always turn out really, really pretty. So, that is it. I mean, as if that wasn't enough. So now I kind of feel like a refresh, a restart, and I can set the things that I actually work on aside for the next episode. So if you have stayed with me this far, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, if you make dishcloths, crochet, knit, sewn, whatever, go submit them into the Ravelry group. That will be running through September 30th. And I hope you all have a fabulous day and night. I will see you next time. Bye.